Hey there and welcome to Matt's Garage. Today I'm going to be doing an oil change on this 2013 Kia Soul and showing you how step by step in detail. So the first step in doing a successful oil change is to warm up the car beforehand so that the oil drains out really nice and any sludge that might be on the bottom of the pan drains out with it. So I've already done that. I've taken the car for about a 10-minute drive here. So here we go. You'll need an oil filter. I went with a MAN. I like a quality filter, so MAN or Wix or a Kia one, and a wrench like that to get it off is nice. I believe the drain plug is going to be 14mm, but I haven't got under there yet and it's a little low. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of boards in front of the tires and then just drive the car ahead up onto them. And then that's another thing, you want to take the keys out of the car and put them aside while you're doing the oil change, just to make sure the car doesn't accidentally get started by anyone while you're in the middle of the oil change. Already I got my drain pan there, my filter wrench, and it's actually a 17mm drain plug. Anyways, your filter is right there. As you can see, you want to drain the oil first though, and your drain plug right back there in the middle on the back of the drain pan. Right there. So it's a good idea to just wipe things off before you get started here. Also a good time to look for leaks. Just especially wipe off around your drain plug so that you don't get any debris into the engine. That's your goal at every point when you're working inside an engine or opening up an engine. And I just like to wipe other stuff off too. That way it's easy to see what's leaking and what's not the next time you come in here. Wipe off around your oil filter really good right now, because that's another area you gotta open up in a minute here. Okay, so we'll get our drain plug broken loose here. Ooh, it was almost just finger tight in there. Wow. I mean, I'm not a fan of over torquing them, but it can go the other way too. Got to make sure these things aren't going to fall out. Sometimes I like to strain oil to see if there's any metal or anything in it, but I also will just run it over my gloves like that. And then I'll check my gloves in a minute here. And I've caught metal filings in oil that way before. It's easy to see on the black glove. So because we jacked up the car just on the front too, that makes the oil drain out better. One thing I failed to show you earlier, but I did do, is just loosen your dipstick a little. Just pull it up a little, just as an air vent, so the oil drains out a bit quicker. That way it removes more sludge from the engine. So we've still got the drain plug out. I like to leave that out for quite a while to make sure all the oil drips out. And you might want to change that washer on there. I actually went looking for one and unfortunately I don't have one. But you're supposed to actually change that washer every time you change oil, or you can get one with a reusable rubber on it. That's what I like to do normally, but I don't have one handy next time. So we're just going to prepare our oil filter, because you do want to pre-fill the filter before you put it on so that your engine gets instant oil pressure basically. This engine is recommended to run with a 5W20 oil, so that's what we're going to be using. And you also want to lube that gasket before installing it. Now some people will tell you don't need to pre-lube the filter, and honestly you don't really need to, because there's engine applications where the filter goes on this way and you can't. But when you can, I always do, because if you can save your engine a couple seconds without oil pressure, why wouldn't you? So you also want to inspect for any filings in there from when I cut the threads, or any manufacturing debris that might have fallen in the filter, but there is none, so we can just fill that. And the way the filter sits on this vehicle, I can fill it right up, and a lot of it will soak into the element material in there is the thing, and you want it to do that because that's the thing, when you pre-lube it, you pre-lube that cardboard element in there so that the oil flows through it quicker, like instantly, when you do get oil pressure. So there, it doesn't need to be right up to the brim, but I like to put at least half full if I can. And since I'm working outside here and I don't want any debris to blow in it while I'm taking the old filter off the car, I'm just going to put this lid over it, keep it clean inside. So that is still dripping slightly, but if we just slide our drain pan over, it can catch both. And then just loosen this filter, which is pretty darn tight. It's like a different person tightening the filter versus the drain plug. You should only just hand tighten filters. They should never be quite like this. Okay, and you just want to check and make sure that the gasket from the filter isn't stuck up here on the housing. I actually like to wipe the housing off, so I would never double gasket a filter, but some people, if they're in a hurry, do. They screw a new one on. There's still a gasket stuck up there, and it will leak every time if you do that. Sometimes different brands of filters, the gasket falls in a slightly different spot, so you kind of want to wipe this off here, get it nice and clean. Okay, so we are ready to put our new filter on. Now you only need to hand tighten these, and you want to make sure you get it started on there nice and straight, of course. But just hand tighten it, don't use the wrench, just as tight as you can get by hand. I mean, I guess if you were terribly weak, you could use a wrench, but... And then just wipe everything off so you can tell right away if something's leaking after the oil change. Okay, so now we just got to put the drain plug back in. So I do like to go till it's pretty well all dripped out, but this is close enough here, so we're going to screw the drain plug back in here. There we go. I'll just wipe that off quick so it's not dripping on the ground. Move my drain pan away. And then I'm just going to torque it up with a wrench. Just with a regular wrench. I will leave a torque spec in case you wanted to use a torque wrench. But just a good firm pull on this is all you need. Don't overdo it. It's plenty. And then wipe everything off once more. And we're mostly done. We just got to pour some oil in. So this is a 2-liter engine, and according to Google, the oil capacity is going to be 4 liters or 4.23 quarts for you Americans. And you use 5W20 for all operating conditions. I just like to clean that actually first before I take it off. We'll clean that and we'll just clean around it. Of course, use a funnel if you need. And I risk it without. Nailed it, kinda. Okay, now we're just going to start it up and check underneath for leaks. Then we'll back it off those blocks, let it sit for a minute, and then confirm with the dipstick. Okay, now we start the car. And you actually want to just check on the dash when you start it. Just turn your key on and you see right there, it's an oil light right there. You want to make sure that goes out. It'll probably take about 5 seconds after it starts. Just make sure it goes out. See, it went out. If it doesn't go out, you want to shut the car off and recheck your work, but give it about 10 seconds before you panic like that. So since it did go out, now the next step is to look underneath the car and make sure there are no leaks. I did confirm the oil level, it's right up, and I also added this piece of masking tape here with the current date and mileage. Thanks a lot for watching Matt's Garage. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.